Let's face it, Hamlet has been dealing with some fairly serious drama in his life. It only makes sense that his ending would be equally as epic. Throughout the course, we have watched many examples of Hamlet, from Ethan Hawke's modern rendition to Kenneth Branagh's classic star-packed adaptation. When asked to choose which movie I believe best represented the final battle from the play, I automatically chose Kenneth Branagh's film. Though I chose that movie almost instantly, I had to sit and think, why? Why did I choose this version so quickly? What criteria drew me to choose it so instinctively? Well, with that in mind, I went forward to develop criteria that I thought would rank each movie that best represented the Hamlet play. Firstly, I chose time/setting. Ethan Hawke and David Tennant's versions have more of a modern feel. Both movies included modern weapons such as guns, versus the Mel Gibson and Kenneth Branagh versions, which only included time-representative weapons such as rapiers and daggers. Next, I chose to compare clothing. I did some research on what people of the time period would wear versus what was worn in each movie. During the time period that Hamlet was alive, peasant men wore stockings or tunics, while women wore long gowns with sleeveless tunics and wimples to cover their hair. Sheepskin cloaks and woolen hats, along with mittens, were worn in the winter for protection from the cold and rain. Leather boots were covered with wooden pattens to keep the feet dry. The outer clothes were almost never washed, but the linen underwear was regularly laundered. The smell of wood smoke that permeated the clothing seemed to act as a good deodorant. Peasant women spun wool into the threads that were woven into the clothing for these garments. So now that we know what the people of the time period would have worn, we have to look at what the characters were wearing in each movie. In David Tennant's version, we see suits, jackets, and toques, and more of a modernized clothing. In Ethan Hawke's version, we also see similar modernized clothing, but with a strong early 2000s influence. In Mel Gibson's version, we see an intense Game of Thrones-esque medieval-type clothing. This clothing is a little too early, as the medieval period began 476 years before Hamlet would have been alive. The Kenneth Branagh version does a good job of exemplifying what was worn in the Shakespearean era. Leggings, bubbled shoulders, and just pure extraness we all imagine when we think of Shakespeare. In the movie, we see both peasants and royalty in scene 5, and besides this fencing gear, we can see peasants dressed in both stockings or leggings and tunics, which pretty much look like if you made a shirt out of a potato sack. We also see our royal family in this scene. Gertrude is dressed to the nines in true royal garments, like her long dress and high collars. Meanwhile, King Claudius is almost often wearing militaristic-type clothing where he displays his medals and awards. This outfit is quite fitting if we consider that Denmark is currently at war with Norway, and he needs to dress as so to raise morale and show he is the top dog. With both time relevance and overall relation to the actual play, I have decided that Kenneth Branagh's 1996 adaptation of Hamlet is best representative of the Shakespeare play, Hamlet. Though this is what I believe to be the best version, I'm more than open to hearing others' opinions and how they viewed each movie. I believe this was more of a personal decision that I made because, after all, it is what movie I think best represents the final battle scene. Thank you for listening.